Hello everyone and welcome back guys to round 16 of the F1 2020 McLaren Road to Glory, where today we're here back for the Singapore Grand Prix. A bit of an apology, there hasn't been a video from this series in about a week and a half now at the time of uploading this. Obviously, if you missed out the last one from Monza, I would definitely recommend going back and checking it out. But yeah, we've taken a bit of a break before we head into the flyaway season to finish off season 1 of this series. But this is also going to be the first race recorded on the new F1 2020 patch. So you can see there a huge amount of changes going on then. Racing Point suddenly find themselves as the second best team in Formula 1 there. We are now better than Aston Martin, Red Bull as well. You can see Ferrari, obviously their huge nerf has brought them back towards AlphaTauri there. So major changes as we head into round 16 of the year there. You can see the bottom three are pretty much the same there. Renault are definitely a lot slower than they would have been previously there. But yeah, this is obviously, like I said, the first race on the new patch. But let's dive in then here to the Singapore Grand Prix. So here we are then, ready for qualifying from the Singapore Grand Prix. Practice when it was a bit up and down. I'll be honest, we struggled to get to grips with the car there. Really actually struggling with front-end rotation. So we're going to run quite an aggressive setup around the Singapore Grand Prix to really try and help us out on qualifying. Obviously, qualifying pretty damn essential around Singapore. Not the easiest track to make overtakes at. That is going to be the setup we're going to be using this weekend. Our qualifying form in recent weeks hasn't been all too brilliant. As are we going to get any frames heading out of the final corner? I would love a few, Codies. That's not going to be helpful. It's not on your phones or your computers that's lagging. This is F1 2020, so nice to see that hasn't been patched just yet on this game there. Heading through the first couple of corners though, we can't afford to give up. This is only one-shot qualifying. We only get one chance at this. So, yeah, well, we'll need to try and make sure we get this absolutely nailed. It even affects the force feedback in your wheel as well here. So we're probably just going to take quite a conservative run around the Singapore Grand Prix here. This is making me rather dizzy, I'll be honest, as we head in through Sector 2 there. You can see Hamilton currently fastest, but we are not far behind after the first few corners of the lap there. Down through the Singapore Sling, over the Anderson Bridge. Oh, well, now we're going over the Anderson Bridge even. I was a little bit early to that one. Try and get the car nicely rotated through the hairpin. Avoid the wheel spin on the exterior. So just see now Hamilton will romp away a little bit down this back straightaway in towards Sector 3. Try and get as little wheel spin as we can on the exterior. A bit of a wobble. Mercedes obviously now have even more of an OP car on F1 2020 thanks to the recent performance patch. Red Bull clearly haven't found the same sort of upgrades in this career mode as they have in real life. But in towards final couple of corners, we've been pleasantly surprised, despite the lack of frames, how well we've been able to hold on to this. One more corner to go then. Let's try and keep it nice and tidy. We do get a good run at the final turn. And I think that's P2 on the grid. We must have been very close to Hamilton in the end there of qualifying. So yeah, rather happy with that one. Hopefully we'll have some more frames ready for the race. But how far off were we?
Let's review our top three today.
400ths of a second. 400ths of a second was all the gap was between myself and Lewis Hamilton there. Bottas P3, I'm sure he's a bit gutted with that. But yeah, Lando really struggling then at the end of qualifying, despite the Ferrari's huge nerf. Still 4th and 6th on the grid there with Sergio Perez in a rejuvenated Racing Point up in 5th place there. But Lance Stroll still qualifying outside the top 10 there. So not too sure just how much we should trust the new performance patch. Maybe it's still a little bit out at the moment there. But anyway, let's dive in then here to the Singapore Grand Prix.
Here we go then, it's Formula 1 in Marina Bay once again, and welcome to all of you at home who join us today for this fascinating race around the baking hot, horribly humid, but very beautiful streets of Singapore. The Marina Bay Street Circuit then has 23 corners, 13 to the left and 10 to the right, taking us a total of 3.1 miles around the landmarks of downtown Singapore. An average lap speed around here, just 107 miles per hour. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race It's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Let's have a chat about McLaren. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Sergio Perez, and Vettel, Norris, Albon, Verstappen, and Daniel Ricciardo, Stroll, Kvyat, Esteban Ocon, and Grosjean, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell, and Pierre Gasly, Magnussen, and Nicholas Latifi. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track.
So here we are then, on the grid, ready for the Singapore Grand Prix. Round 16 of the season, and there's going to be rain towards the end of this one, potentially, so that could make things very, very interesting here. But Crofty and Anthony Davidson say McLaren are doing good work at the moment. Can't help but feel, yeah, we've had a really, really strong season so far, and maybe now, with the performance patch, we might be able to sneak P3 away from Charles Leclerc. They're the only man who's really taken it to Mercedes this season, but I mean, it's still Bottas' World Championship to lose at this latter stages of the year there. But getting ready then, round 16 of the season, keeping it clean on the opening lap is absolutely essential here for a good race. 5 red lights, and it is going to be lights out, and away we go, trying to avoid the wheel spin as we head down in towards the first corner though. Bottas in the other Mercedes gets right around the outside there. We've got to give Perez the room as well as we head through the first corner there. Don't know why he obviously did back to Ocon in 2018, but not the best start then in the world, losing the one spot to Valtteri Bottas here. But we've kept it clean, we've avoided the other cars, we've avoided hitting the walls as well there, and that's always a great start here in Singapore. I don't know if we're going to have the same sort of race pace to try and match Mercedes here today as we struggle to get the car rotated in through Sector 2. Come on, got to be some bite at the front end. Yeah, I'm not too sure if race pace we're going to be able to match Mercedes here today, so I mean, if we could try and sneak a podium, I'd take that very, very happily indeed, nonetheless here. You know, if we, like I said, if we can finish the season as the second best team and the third in the Drivers' Championship, I'd be very, very happy with that. But, you know, Season 2, we're going to be looking more to try and challenge Mercedes for a World Championship. That is the aim over the course of F1 2020 here. But as we head now down in towards Sector 3, trying to get the car nicely caught in. Bottas does seem to be struggling a bit in comparison to his teammate Lewis Hamilton here. So, maybe there's going to be an opportunity to try and make something work. Coming just through the final couple of corners of the opening lap though, settling down comfortably into a rhythm. Obviously this track, brutal if you make any sort of mistakes, very much like a modern Monaco on F1 2020 here. But we've survived the first lap, Hamilton still leads the way. His teammate Valtteri Bottas up one place into P2, we slot back down into P3. Over the Anderson Bridge on lap 2, we are definitely applying the pressure to Valtteri Bottas there as we get a bit of wheel spin as we head out onto this back straightaway. It's a shame we ran such an aggressive aero setup, because we seem to be able to stick closer in through the bits you can't overtake, and then just down the straightaways, he's got a little bit more down that back straight, and then of course along the Raffles Boulevard. Bottas looking comfortable, but Hamilton romping away from the pair of us. On to lap 3 then, let's just wait and see if now with the DRS we can try and have a look around Valtteri Bottas here as we try to open up the run out onto the Raffles Boulevard once more. I don't think, oh no, we are gaining a little bit this time round on the Mercedes, but not quite close enough to go for anything down this straight there. And then again, oh, Bottas this time around going a bit defensive. We're trying to look around the outside, but can't make anything work. Just a little bit closer to Valtteri Bottas this time round. Can we potentially line up a move on the Finnish driver here? We have got a very, very good run down the Raffles Boulevard once again. Bottas is aware of it. He goes defensive once more down at the end of the straight there. But like I said, pre-race, so difficult to try and make moves work around here. As well, Bottas a little bit of a slip-up, but there's just nowhere for us to go as we head through Sector 2 there. A little bit of wheel spin is not going to help us out one bit either here. Is down in through the next couple of corners. Look how slow Bottas is through there, almost going into the back of the Mercedes driver as we head over the Anderson Bridge. Oh, we thought about going for the move. Oh, we accidentally tagged Bottas as well. Don't think we can really capitalise from that after almost doing a bump and run. The pit window is about to open up, and in all honesty, I'm tempted to try and do whatever Bottas doesn't here in this Grand Prix. If he pits, we will stay out. If he doesn't, we may as well pit in this Grand Prix. And Bottas does opt to stay out then, so we're going to try and get the undercut on the Mercedes, man. I just feel like I'm losing too much time. We just about get the car slowed down into the pit lane here, but hopefully everyone obviously else will fly past us. There is the pit stop strategy opening up. No front wing change, thank God, unlike the Baku career mode video yesterday. A 2.9 second stop though isn't ideal, but we should be out a bit behind Nicholas Latifi in this Grand Prix, so we'll have some clear air. Hopefully we won't get too close to the back of the Williams over the just next couple of laps where everyone else pits in. You can see Grosjean and Giovinazzi have already had to dive in, not too sure what happened to them, but horrible pit exit around this Singapore Grand Prix circuit. But now, let's see if we can get a couple of quick laps in and get the undercut. Oh, end of lap 5, Hamilton is into the pit lane here. Unfortunately, I didn't get a reference as to where he was, how far in front of Bottas and I really was, but we have gone purple in the middle sector here. You can see we're really trying to make the curbs ride it whilst we've got the extra grip in the car there. Obviously, no doubt Hamilton will still be out ahead of us, but we should be close to the points again as we set another purple sector through sector 3. Hamilton definitely has lost out a lot of time, though, on that pit lap, so I don't know if he got held up in the pit lane as well, but look at this, we're all over the back then of Lewis Hamilton in this Grand Prix. Could we potentially get a run down the Raffles Boulevard on the other Mercedes? I certainly wasn't expecting to be battling him just yet in this Grand Prix, if at all, here today, but he hasn't got the DRS on Latifi. He does have the slipstream, though, as we head now down in towards sector 2. We're both going to get held up by the Canadian. Hamilton already looking for moves. Clearly doesn't want to be sat behind the Williams for very long in this Grand Prix. And this sort of reminds me of, I think it was 2019, last year I think it was, around the Singapore Grand Prix, where it might have been 2018 even, when obviously Hamilton and Verstappen were battling it out, with all these lapped cars getting in the way. They're not lapped though, this is a battle for position. But is Hamilton going to be able to pull off a move? We're going to try and go for a cutback on the pair of them. Out onto the back straight. Can we try and get a run on Hamilton? We have got good traction out of the corner there. Hamilton though, he's going to have a look up the inside of Latifi. We just get boxed in behind. Nowhere for us to go on the exit of the corner there as Latifi, yeah, is really causing a bit of an issue here. Hamilton now, a very, very aggressive move up the inside of the Williams. Can we follow him through? Hamilton does get round him. Surely we're not going to be able to find any space through here. Yes, we do. Latifi giving us the race in respect. Fair play to him. He's tripped Hamilton and I over in this Grand Prix. Bottas now might get into the lead here as we get a huge chunk of wheel spin through the penultimate corner of the lap there. But Hamilton and I now back out in clear air. Where are the Mercedes? There is Bottas just coming out the pit lane. So this is a battle for the race lead then here from the Singapore Grand Prix. But are we going to see Hamilton romp away again like we saw in the opening half? Hamilton and I trading fastest laps there. Now we're back out ahead of the rest of the field. You can see Bottas 5 seconds back at the moment, and he's not really taking any time out of the pair of us here. I guess the next big question then is if the rain is going to arrive before the end of the Grand Prix, and what will that do? If real Formula 1's anything to go by, the McLaren, as Portugal proved, not too bad in some drizzle. Really, it was quite a crazy start to the Portuguese Grand Prix. I think a lot of people sort of already forgot about it because the end of the race wasn't quite as dramatic. But yeah, maybe we'll get some of that similar luck that McLaren got in the real race. Well, on to lap 9. We're still applying the pressure to Lewis Hamilton at the moment, but we just don't seem to find any sort of opportunity to get past the Mercedes. He's looking cool, calm and collected. We're trying to fill his mirrors as much as possible, but let's be fair, Hamilton's not exactly a driver that makes plenty of mistakes. 5 laps to go then here from Singapore, and still it is just relentless pace coming from both myself and Lewis Hamilton in this Grand Prix there. Obviously Hamilton still in the championship battle at the moment. He needs me to finish between him and Bottas if he wants any sort of opportunity at the World Championship here. I still think Bottas is very, very unlikely to lose it now. He's had such a dominant first half of the season. And, I mean, for us, we just want race victories if we can get them as well at the moment. You know, we're looking at our championship in the long run. Charles Leclerc clearly not having a good day out of it. I think he's down in 6th place at the moment, so we're going to take a lot of points out of the Ferrari this weekend here. But yeah, Hamilton, though, still no sign of cracking. Oh, there we go, Hamilton. Finally starting to have a couple of little slip-ups on lap 12 of this Grand Prix. Just over 3 laps to go here, and that's exactly what we like to see. Coming from the Mercedes just in front of us. Just a little bit of wheel spin. And the AI really do panic when they do get those moments here on F1 2020. But just like I said, 3 laps to go here from Singapore. That hasn't granted us an opportunity, but it has brought us just that little bit closer to the Mercedes gearbox. I'll be honest, the Merc's back end, certainly not a bad one to be looking at, but I'd rather see it in my rearview mirror still. 2 laps to go then here from Singapore. The team have confirmed that the rain will not be arriving between now and the end of the Grand Prix, so it's all just going to have to be down to skill. See if we can get around Lewis Hamilton and that mighty Mercedes here, trying to use all our ERS as we head onto the Raffles Boulevard, and we are definitely closer than we have been a long time in this Grand Prix, but still you can just see not the momentum, but Hamilton, he does lock up. Can we try and make anything of it? No, we just get a bit of wheel spin in excitement there, trying to get around the Mercedes man, but still, we are applying as much pressure as we possibly can. Obviously, neither of us want to end up in the wall. If Hamilton goes into the wall, there's a fair chance as well that we'll get roped into it here. But still, really just breathing down the Mercedes neck. Honestly, if you guys remember back to the British Grand Prix earlier on this season, I'm starting to get mega vibes from that race here as we head in towards the final lap from Singapore. Obviously, if you remember that race, Hamilton, we closed him down in the second half of that Grand Prix and made a move work into the final sector of the race. Sebastian Vettel out of the Grand Prix. That's not really going to change our race all too much, but it will promote Charles Leclerc up into 5th place there. But 1 lap to go then, here from the Singapore Grand Prix. Sometimes you find the AI save all their battery and go for 1 lap right at the end. We currently do still have the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, but can we try and get anything done on Lewis Hamilton here? We're going to have to try and breathe down his neck to see if we can open up any sort of opportunity absolutely anywhere around this track. Taking a lot of curb that time round through the Raffles Boulevard, and it has given us again a good run, but is it going to be enough? In towards the next couple of corners there, we think about it, but again, we're just not close enough. This time round, Hamilton a lot wiser to it. Doesn't lock up in anticipation there as we just clip the back of the Mercedes as well here. I wonder if where Seb's gone out, if we get a run down the back straight, whether we're going to be even able to make a move, or whether the yellow flags might cost us an opportunity there. Dink in the wall as we head into the Singapore Sling. Just goes to show how much we're trying to open up this race circuit at the moment. Can we look for something over the Anderson Bridge? No, definitely not. Not quite close enough that time round to go for anything. Luckily for us though, Seb's car has been cleared, but unluckily, we don't get a good enough run down this back straightaway here, in towards the final few corners of the Singapore Grand Prix. If we want to make anything work now, we're really going to have to try and force it on Lewis Hamilton here. Ride the curbs through these final couple of corners. If he just gets 1 moment of wheel spin, there might still be an opportunity here, but Hamilton, he's soaked up the pressure from pretty much lap 5 to the end of this Singapore Grand Prix here. We're practically pushing him through the final couple of corners here. We dink the wall again, just trying to open up the run as much as possible, but Hamilton's going to come through to win the Singapore Grand Prix. We, though, could not have got much more out of the car in the end there. Happy with P2, but gutted that we couldn't get the race victory there. Ricciardo picks up driver of the day as well, but 18 points will take it.
Yes, another historic win under their belts. Well done to the team at Mercedes. Anthony, tell me, what was it that helped them achieve this success?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Not the result our points leader wanted, but it certainly makes things interesting going forward. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
It's got to be Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he pulled off some impressive feats out on the track today, even by his standards. All respect to the fans' choice, they fully deserve it. But I just feel that my pick had a little more on their plate, so their ability to keep a cool head and come through for such a strong finish made the difference, at least in my opinion.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there we are then, guys, the end of the Singapore Grand Prix, and 1/10 of a second was all that stood between ourselves and race victory there. Lewis Hamilton, though, you can't deny he definitely deserved that one as well. We pushed him to the absolute limit here today, and he did hold firm at the top there and takes home a valiant 25 points there. 10 points taken out of his title rival Valtteri Bottas, who finished P3. That could go a long, long way come season's end there. Sergio Perez, a fantastic job done for Racing Point in 4th ahead of Charles Leclerc. Daniel Ricciardo from 10th on the grid to 6th place in the end there. Verstappen down in 7th ahead of Lando and Albon there in 9th, well, he's with Danny Kvyat rounding out the top 10 and picking up the final points-paying position there. George Russell, a fantastic job done in 13th there. You can see finishing ahead of the likes of Gasly, Magnussen, Grosjean, Giovinazzi, Latifi, and Kimi Raikkonen there. And you can see Sebastian Vettel still classified, but 2 laps down, the only man not to make it to the checkered flag there. But that means in the World Championship, we are only 7 points now behind Charles Leclerc. I didn't realise it was that close in the battle for best of the non-Mercedes there. So very, very happy with that one. Lando taking a few points out Sebastian Vettel as well there. So I'd like for us both to beat our respective Ferrari drivers there. Ricciardo, with that good result, moves back ahead of Alex Albon in the championship as well there, as Verstappen still sat in 7th place there. Perez comfortably in 10th as well there, but no other changes down the field there. Constructors-wise, Ferrari still, what's that, 25 points ahead, 35 points ahead of us with just a few races to go there, so hopefully we can take the points out of them as well. But I think Mercedes pretty much mathematically guaranteed it now. Red Bull a long way back as well, so the very worst, we're going to finish P3 this season as well there. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure you get yourself subscribed. And yeah, we will be back very, very soon where we head to the Russian Grand Prix. We'll probably have some grid penalties. You guys do not want to miss it. A big thank you to our channel members for making these videos possible. You can be featured in these end clips as well as granted access to some other exclusive perks for just £1 a month by clicking the join button below.